What's the difference between the sky embodied or relaxing into the natural state, sitting practice we are doing, and Ati Yoga? No difference. No difference at all. It's just a different way to verbalize it, name it, describe it. Asking yesterday's question in reverse. Do you think more secular Buddhisms like Zen and Theravada chose to exclude the supernatural? I assume once practitioners start to open up as they mature on their practice, they come in contact with weird stuff. Oh, by the way, the supernatural was also in brackets. Brackets? Quotes. They come in contact with weird stuff. Aloka had his encounter with a hairy monster, for example. Is this stuff hidden in other traditions? Supernatural, weird stuff. Do you think more secular Buddhisms like Zen and Theravada chose to exclude the supernatural? Well, I can. Well, maybe I shouldn't, but but I can answer on behalf of Zen Buddhists. Traditionally, when somebody has a vision, be it any kind of vision, of samsaric vision, just stuff, or be it a very like vision of Buddhas or Pure Lands or something. When you go to a Zen master, they tell you it's a makio. Makio literally means, well, I don't remember what it literally means, but it means delusion, something like that, you know, just shit, forget it. So yes, there is a like if we speak of Zen Buddhism, that's a huge, it contains many schools, many countries, different emphases. So it is a bit difficult to speak on behalf of all Zen Buddhists, but yes, there is that. I think that exclusion of anything else except Dharmakaya awareness and the physical body. I assume once practitioners start to open up, as they mature in their practice, they come in contact with weird stuff. Aloka had his encounter with a hairy monster, for example. Is this stuff hidden in other traditions? Something that I've talked about on this retreat, we discussed the sexual drive. and that when we grow up, we become identified as humans, human beings, that has a gender, that has a sex drive, gets a name, and so on. All these things we identify with. Buddhism speaks about 6 realms, samsaric realms, and transmigration from form to form, to animal forms, to human forms, to angelic forms, to God realms, to hell realms, as demons if you're a bad one, hurt others. Isn't that quite weird? From the point of view, if we look at this basic teaching of Buddhism from should I say, scientific, non-religious point of view. Yet this has been said by Buddhism for a long, long time, and by others before Buddhism was started. So I think that the problem with this question is that we become fixed, one, as human beings, then with all these other things, whatever worldviews we become fixed with. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be analytical and have reason. I'm just saying that we very easily become fixed with all these things. And I certainly think that any kind of weird or supernatural things should be viewed with discretion. Discrimination. But my experience since I was a little boy has been that 6 realms, the teaching of the 6 realms is true. The teaching of Guru Yoga is true and real. Yeah, maybe that's something to think about, this becoming identified and fixed as human beings. Think about how old are you now? You were born on year X. Think about where you were 1 year before that. Obviously you can't, figure it out by thinking, but I'm just saying that this weird and supernatural stuff involves all of us. Some of us it involves, in our life we get mystical, unexplainable experiences. Something happens, and to some it's everyday life. In a recent Facebook post, you wrote about being in the natural state in a public place and how this helps is a service to everyone there. Could you expand more on this? How we can influence the world around us for the better through our practice? Being in the natural state in a public place and how this helps others. This is actually the name of this retreat is was it heart of all beings? Heart of all beings. And I haven't gotten to it yet, but since this question came up, I will say something. I wrote an article about this like 1 or 2 months ago, and I didn't publish it yet because it will be published in a Buddhist magazine at some point. But there are three. You may have heard me talk about this. So there are three different energy bodies. The one we have inside the skin, the one we have in the aura, and third, one we have beyond our aura. Straighten up your spine. Feel your body and feel the energy inside the body. Very gently feel the space inside the skin. Very gently. Feather light touch. Then feel your aura. About 1.5 meters from the surface of your skin in all directions. Just think of that egg-shaped area and feel into it with the same feather light sensing. You can also try to sense if this field has an edge. Where is the edge of it? On the sides of the body, the front and back of the body, below the body, above the body. So you don't visualize or put the aura there. You sense if it is there. And then the third body. What is outside of that aura? Feel into that body. As your attention reaches beyond your own samsaric bubble of self. Just when your attention goes beyond your personal energy field, see what the effect is inside your energy field, in your body, in your aura, in your heart, in your head. It's wonderful, isn't it? The Buddha body. Now feel all the three bodies at the same time. And now, silently in your mind, verbalize the following prayers and well wishings. May all beings be happy. Say it in your mind and then wait a moment. So you say it sincerely with the actual positive intent. What is meant with it? May all beings be happy. Say it again. And every time you say a prayer, after that, try to feel what happens in these three bodies. May all beings be happy. Try to see, try to feel, try to sense what happens energetically in these three bodies through these common prayers. So first we used happiness. Next, may all sentient beings be loved. May all sentient beings be loved. May all sentient beings be loved. May all beings be free. May all beings be free of suffering. May all beings be free. Let that simmer a few moments. What happens in the three bodies? So, we said three very common, universal prayers used in Buddhism, also in other religions. And whether you know it or not, uh, with these prayers or similar ones, you're working with these three bodies. The third body, which is a energy body that we are connected to, like for example, in this Tanka, this painting of Guru Padmasambhava, he has his aura depicted by this round shape that grows flowers. So I have never seen a painting where this third body is depicted, but these channels, they extend beyond our personal aura. We have tens of thousands of channels. The whole aura is filled with these thin tubes, and they don't stop at the edge, they extend. But what is there outside the edge, there are no more karmic imprints, no samskaras. Unlike inside, we have plenty of them. And our mind makes us confused. So we are literally inside a bubble. But when you put your mind outside of it, a very, well, I wouldn't want to say magical, but it's very, very beneficial spiritually to go beyond it. And the classical traditional ways of going beyond this bubble are these prayers. I'm just explaining this basic spiritual thing in a kind of a mechanical, in like an engineering point of view. The article that I wrote, it's called Nuts and Bolts of Bodhicitta. So this is the nuts and bolts of bodhicitta.
Questions about the nadis, channels, is that I've always thought that there was a sort of a realm of objects, samsaric realm, the realm of dharma, so the realm of things, and the dharmakaya was the realm of no things, no objects, nothing. There's no sort of anything there. But the nadis sound like things. You see what I mean? They sound like objects. They exist in a realm of nothing, no objects.
So can you explain that one more time?
It seems like the natural state doesn't have anything in it.
No, that's not the point. Let's take an example from yesterday. He said that that the natural state wouldn't have anything in it. We are in it. Things are in it. All forms are in it. Beings are in it. But whether there is self-delusion there, self-investment, that's the difference. Somebody who's a Mahasiddha, while that person was still a practicing yogi, he or she had stuff in her mind that made her mind clouded and stuck, just like our minds get stuck on things, objects, because in his or her mind there are these charges related to these things, objects, things, matters. But when that person attained Buddhahood, Shakyamuni, for example, or Guru Rinpoche, or Longchenpa, or Duchom Limpa, Yeshe Tsogyal, then these self-charges are no longer there. If you're in a physical body as a attained siddha, you have a physical body, but what's in it, the mind in it, is different. It says The Guru Rinpoche says here that although your body remains human, your mind arrives at the stage of Buddhahood, right? So in the same way, you still have these nadis, but it's not a matter like a awareness or dharmakaya doesn't mean that there's nothing. Like no things, nothing at all, like blank. It's not that. Dharmakaya happens in the mind. So if we talk about emptiness or no self, it is just a liberated mode of what used to be samsaric.
It seems like the body can just disappear into light. I mean, that's a rainbow body in a sense.
Hmm?
We perceive the body as one thing, but it can dissolve into light, which suggests that maybe things don't exist in the way that we perceive them to exist.
Yes. But I was meaning to come back to this being in the natural state in a public place and how this helps is a service to everyone there. So I think we are already 3, but I think this is important. So through this vast web of channels, we have more connections with other beings and less with others, or none. No direct connections, threads with others. Between people who are close to each other, family members, students, teachers, Sangha members, there are stronger connection through these subtle channels. So what happens when, just like we did, a moment ago, when we said these prayers, it's possible to sense that through this larger web of channels, this liberating charge of positivity, love, compassion, it spreads out. This is the point. One of the points that the reason why I'm saying that when we do the basic prayers of refuge, bodhicitta, and dedication of merit, that's what happens. One of the things that happens. So being in the natural state in a public place, how this helps is a service to everyone there. Well, it is a big service. Like if we go meditate in a marketplace or chant mantras, it is a very, very wise thing to do, especially in our culture and in our time, actually anywhere in the world, because people are screwed by their samsaric mind, screwed so badly. There's a reason why this is called the dark time, Kali Yuga, because people's minds are so clouded. So even to give people the idea that it is possible to sit still, even if they don't know what you're doing inside or what you're supposed to do, or even if they see that it's weird somehow, doesn't matter. It's still beneficial for them Maybe not instantly, but further down the line. This is, I think, caring and compassion, showing to others Dharma, spreading the Dharma. You don't have to give flyers to people. You can, but you don't have to talk with people. This is traditionally done in the East, in all Dharma cultures, that practitioners are not hidden away in monasteries or caves. They are part of the culture. People see practitioners on daily basis. Monks, yogis. When I was living in Japan in a temple, we used to do takuhatsu, which means, well, begging rounds is not a correct thing, because that's not what it is, although people can donate usually money, rarely food, but sometimes also food. But the monastic community goes out like once or twice a week. Then the whole Sangha circles around streets and chants Ho, which means Dharma. Ho means Dharma in Japanese. So in our monastic community there was around 30 people chanting Ho loudly, going down the streets. Signaling to people that we are there. There are practitioners there. I'm not aware that, even though that's Zen Buddhism, right? Even though Zen Buddhism is very widely spread in the West, I know only one community in the States that does this. Only one. There must be a couple of million Zen Buddhists alone in the West. So that part of Dharma, was not brought to West. And I think it is a problem and a mistake, actually. I'm not blaming people. I'm just saying that that part is missing. And what I was saying in my Facebook post was that I've been thinking about this for 2-3 years myself, going to meditate in a street and chant mantras every now and then, just to show people. Think about your own situation before you started practicing, when you realized that I'm in a trouble. Think if you would have seen practitioners sooner than later. That would have had an effect, right? Let's sit for a minute. we are a little bit behind schedule, and I felt that today it's fourth day, but I kind of sense that maybe a little more rest would be needed. So let's continue at 6 p.m., half an hour later than usual.